Hey, Danny.
Aloha. All right, so they tore the equipment out, and that excites you, but it shouldn't. The last thing that the preponderance of the stores we take over are operating. They're on a thread. They're disgusting. The landlord knows it. The tenant knows it. The customers certainly know it. When they pull out the equipment, someone's made a decision. If they're dainty about it and they make sure they leave all the copper and everything behind, it looks like they've done that here. They're sort of teetering on, well, maybe we'll put a laundry in there if they can give us market rate. But it doesn't make it easier. We spoke to Jeff. We sent Jeff an email. Jeff didn't pick up the phone and call and say, hey, it's time to do something here. You guys ready? Right?
Right.
But I'm just tempering your expectations. Who are we calling now?
I would call Jeff the landlord.
Jeff,
decision maker.
The landlord. And when I spoke to him last, what was said?
He kept saying to you, they violated their agreement. Violated. And that was about the discussion. He refused to talk to us, refused to put a lease in place contingent upon the exit of the other tenant. And that was about it.
All right. This is not some famous YouTube video because it never ended up on the YouTube machine, right?
I'm not sure.
I know. There's so many videos. But I remember we laughed about him saying the violation. But Jeff did not call me. He didn't save my number. He didn't email us. In my opinion, he's already poor at this. No listings, no signs, nothing saying it's for lease.
Nope, not at all.
Okay. All right, here we go. Stand by.
Hello?
Jeff.
Yes?
Danny, the Laundromat guy. How goes it, buddy?
Just fine.
We went by the store. It looks like all the equipment has been yanked out.
Yeah, we're still working on that. We're still in the final stages of finalizing. We have not negotiated an exit yet, but we're getting close.
Good.
Okay, that's where we're at. We'll as soon as we have it free, we'll let you know.
Are you in a hurry?
Have you talked to our leasing agent?
I would love to talk to your leasing agent.
Okay, all right.
Who do I call?
So I'll do that so you can talk to her.
That would be good.
Okay.
It's hard for me to understand why you're in a hurry unless you don't deal with any of this at all ever. You own the building, right?
Well, I'm part of a group of people that own the building.
Okay, good. No sole owner. It's a real estate investment trust or something of that nature.
No.
I'm in no hurry either. No. Like I said before, we talked. I know they were in violation, etc. But I'm not looking to rush you. However, my partner and I that you have on the phone are looking to throw a few $100,000 into this laundry space in just washers.
No,
and
that's
dryers.
exactly, once we get this thing done, that's exactly we're trying to look for. And I think it'd be a good location for that. So we are looking for operators like that because I think you make a lot of money there.
Oh,
so
I know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's an established business. It's been there many years. People know to go there to get their washing done. So it's great.
Well, a restaurant is an established business. This is not. This has been a train wreck for a very, very long time, or they'd be doing well. They should have come to you, signed another lease, reinvested in equipment.
Sure.
But what I'm trying to get across is that we've talked in the past, and we both knew that this guy is on his way out. And I'm not asking for you to discuss your previous tenant, what their rate of rent is or was or would be. None of that. I'm excited about having something in place so that when you do have the ability to put a new tenant in, you've got a good, strong operator. I'm not a salesman. You understand? I'm not looking to
I
turn
realize
this
that.
store
Yeah,
into
absolutely.
a laundry that I can sell to someone. My partner is your guarantor. And so that's where I'm just a bit confused as to last we spoke, it was still quote unquote operating, but now someone's taken the equipment.
Well,
I don't know.
we have not finalized the exit. We're we're in the very last stages of that. There's still some negotiations taking place, but we're very close.
I hear that. And my impetus is to get this done so that I don't have to concern myself with whomever else might come down the pike. Again, no rush. If you said, well, we've got another letter of intent.
Oh no, I mean, I just don't like, again, I mean, I got to be clear here. We have to be very careful. I don't, once we get this secured, like, in other words, once we get the possession of it secured, at that point we would be discussing with, and we also have to evaluate the space a little bit, but we have to, at that point we're ready to go. But we don't want to violate anyone's rights or whatever.
I've signed leases in the same county contingent on the exit of the current tenant. And maybe that's not something your group does.
Well, we wouldn't do that. I mean, anyway, but let me do this. I'll forward you our leasing agent's name, and we're absolutely 100% happy to talk to you. But we want to get we want to make sure that we get the tenant who's there exited. And like I said,
that's the fourth time you've said it.
He's in a position.
I understand that.
So I'm gonna go ahead at this point. I'm gonna fax you. I'm gonna send you a text with our leasing agent's name, and you're free to talk to her, and she will handle all of the details about
excellent
the lease.
Now this is your cell phone number, Jeff, that I'm calling you on?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and you have mine?
Yes.
And you saved my name?
Yes, I do, Danny.
Excellent. All right, hit me up with that. I got nothing else to do. I'll call her up.
All right. Goodbye.
I have a certain impression. Now listen.
Yes.
This is not all about me, but let's talk about personalities, right? I'm pushy. I want to get everything done. I want to get. I remember last time we talked to this guy because I was a little bit perturbed. He's very dismissive, I got other stuff to do. I don't think that's because laundromat operators are lowly on his list. Maybe it is. I don't think it's because this is Sacramento, so Pshaw. Maybe it is. I don't know. But I know that if I had someone on the phone willing to throw all these dollars and cents and time and effort and sweat into a business that I had a vested interest in, okay, he's not the landlord himself. I know how I would act. I'd either say, hey, man, I'm literally putting out a fire. Let me get the fire extinguisher out of the way, and then we'll talk.
Right.
Not Jeff. I'm continually confused by how utterly unprofessional these people are when it comes to this. Now, like I said, there's a leasing agent. Okay. I'm killing time here because I'm hoping. I don't think he's going to text me this leasing agent's number right now. Do you?
Yeah, I doubt it. He seemed very, like you said, dismissive. If I was on his end of the stick and I had a potential like this, I'd move on it.
Well,
yeah,
sure. Or, I mean, the last time it was they violated, but
right.
I have to be very careful. If you're a first-time potential operator and you're calling this guy, Let's say that you just drove, maybe you saw Danny's course and you drove by this place and you said, oh my God, there's a laundromat sign. Why is it turned off at Sunday afternoon? And you make a left and you pull in there and you jump out. How did you find out who owns the property initially?
I've scouted this one. I've scouted most of the laundries in Sacramento, Danny, based on.
I'm just looking for the short answer. Is there a sign?
Okay, so
let's pretend there's a sign.
Buddy of mine said this is potentially needs to be taken over. I reached out and talked to the actual operator, and he was in distress. And basically, at that point, I reached out to Jeff. I got Jeff's name from the operator. Now the operator looks like he's completely out.
Wait a minute. You spoke to the operator, and I'm sure I know all this. I don't pretend to be some brainiac with a photogenic memory. I don't even know if that's a thing. But
yeah,
I'm sure I know this already. But you walked into this place prior to hiring me, and you talked to the operator.
Yep, pretty much. I got the operator's phone number from a colleague. Yep.
Yeah, and he said, "Well, I'm at my wit's end. I don't want to be here any longer." Did he say anything specifically about his relationship with the landlord? Sounds like the landlord likes to follow the letter of the law, and they're obviously doing their. And I want to say this. This dude wouldn't be doing anything wrong by saying, well, let's talk about what a potential lease would look like for you. And I will do that with his agent. I'm fairly certain that Jeff just doesn't feel comfortable negotiating. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. When I spoke with Elias, the operator, he said that the relationship was strained. They were only communicating back and forth with attorneys. He also said that they had their lease, their long-term lease had expired last year. He was able to renew for 1 additional year, and now he's gone to month to month. And in the last month, he had just gotten a notice to vacate. So that's the story.
Okay. All of that going on in the background, I think that Jeff is spooked in some ways. If they're dealing with lawyers, Jeff is concerned that maybe literally people are weird, dude. Jeff is thinking
with attorneys
that we are maybe the operator's buddy trying to call up and negotiate. Like, I mean, okay, whatever. I'm not going to talk to any. Seems to me, and he still hasn't texted me anything.
Yeah.
What a surprise.
Well, I've done my due diligence. I do have the leasing agent. It's Janice. Her number's down below there.
Okay, so that is the number that he should be texting us and hasn't done.
That's correct.
All right. Well, son of a bitch, let's call her up.
Let's try it.
All right, guys, now's where you subscribe. Let's see it.
Thank you for calling. I'm sorry for being. Please leave me your name, a message, and I'll return your call at the earliest opportunity.
Okay. My vast knowledge of the telephone and the way that it works is not only because I've been around since phones were, a little dial, and when cell phones were magic, but also because I was a PI for a dozen years, all these little nuances that you pick up on. When you call her number, when I just dialed her number, when one calls, it doesn't even ring. It goes straight to her voicemail. So Janice either lost her phone in the toilet or the ocean, she's got it turned off, or the third option, she's literally in the middle of dialing or is on another line. If she's on another line, it should give us a ringtone. And she's looking at it, it's going boop, 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 boop. You understand? So, in the interest of getting something done, and we don't know, we can assume maybe Jeff is calling her and getting her permission to talk to us. I don't think so.
Yeah, I doubt that.
I was impressed that he saved my number. All right, let's try it again. Stand by. Let's see if it rings. Did you subscribe? It's ringing. It's different. Somebody in the comments mentioned EOD. Come on, Janice. Okay, that time it rang, and I didn't get her voicemail. Third time's a charm. Let's see if we can annoy Janice. Here we go. Now I know you subscribed. Now's where your thumbs is up, so you don't miss these lives. Fucking honey badger. Janice.
Thank you for calling. I'm sorry for being unable to take your call at the moment. Please leave me your name, number, and
Janice. Danny D'Angelo, give me a call back on my cell, 480. Oh, now my phone's going to give me a bunch of shit. Third time was a charm, in fact, because we got her voicemail at least. Hold on a second. I have been having a hell of a time today. I knew there was a problem with the phone systems. Apparently, AT&T, Verizon, all throughout the country, there's been cellular outages. Yeah. Hold on a second. Well, you're definitely glasses half full kind of guy. I'm having lots of technical difficulties. We are not going to see any outward change whatsoever in that location when it goes from what it looks like now to it being available for lease. Other than, I mean, are they going to go put a sign in the window? Maybe. Are they going
next
to?
door, there's a bay that's open next door to the laundry, and they do have a sign that has Janice's name on
Okay,
it,
so
along with the other.
there you go. So anybody rolling by there can see that there is what was a laundromat, what is now a former laundromat, and they can also see the number to the real estate agent. So the only difference, I think, would be some kind of an online listing. And again, the rest of the world continues to think that the way that you get into the laundry business is either buy one, build one, or go talk to the operator and see if you can't have their store and give them hundreds of thousands. This guy would have been thrilled to take your money, like most of them. And, oh, now you can go speak to my landlord. And he would have made a deal. If you gave him $100,000, he would have probably given 80 of it to his landlord in back rent, kept 20, called the landlord and said, hey, my friend Craig wants to lease the place. And he'd say, okay, we'll zap him for $8,000 a month. It's just maddening.
Yeah, it's the agreement with the leasing agent or landlord that really counts in a big way.
Of
It's a
course.
big portion of the operating cost of a laundry.
You get it. All right.
So Danny, what do you think? Hit this again next week or what?
Definitely. If you don't need to wait a week if something changes. If you see it every day, get up, brush your teeth, wipe your ass, type in the address and see if it's been listed. All right. You brought me on board to speak to Janice. He's not texting me her number. If he does or did, I would tell you there's nothing here. Oh, yeah, I'll send you the agent's number. Well, he knows that we can see the number on the glass next door.
Right.
But what I'm saying is if something changes outwardly, meaning a listing or the sign gets duplicated and placed in the glass, then we'll call her tomorrow afternoon. But beyond that, there's never any urgency to this. If they want $7,000 a month, that ain't going to happen either way. All right, the next one that you have here, what's going on with this spot?
That's it, Danny.
That's all we got is that. All right.
Yeah.
Listen, keep.
Remember, they gray spaced one of the ones we were looking at. Bobby, that's the one you're looking at. The next one, she gray spaced it. So
Okay, they got rid of the infrastructure. That happens, dude. More laundries go away. New laundries are being built, and the new laundries that are being built for people that don't know how they should get into this business. The consumer walks in and says, "Wow, what a beautiful laundromat! I love it," but the prices are too high. The operator's trying to make money, and they figure they're going to price themselves out of the market. And I'm not saying you can't charge more for a good laundry, but you can't price yourself into $1 million laundromat. It doesn't work. Let me say this for the cheap seats. I'd rather you, Craig, never get in the laundry business ever than buy one or build one. You get that? You have to flip a switch in your head. My God, I'm passionate about ice cream. I make the best Rocky Road. So go start a fucking ice cream stand. I don't know anything about that business. I can't assume you'd ever make any money, but God bless you. But I do know laundries, and I know these stories. The people that do it wrong lie to themselves and lie to everyone else because it's human nature. Oh, we tried laundries. It was all right. Or they say, we were cash flowing. Come on. There's people on YouTube collecting $2,000 or $3,000 a month in coins. It's not worth your time. A good store isn't going to make $2,000 or $3,000 net a month. It's going to do triple, quadruple that easily. It's the folding shit. Keep your eye on it. Keep your ear to the ground and your nose to yourself, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, Craig.
Will do.
Bye.
Thanks, Danny. Bye.
Now on to you, louts. It has been a day with the phone systems and the horse shit. Jump in the top chat if you've had any phone issues today. Marcus, Army EOD, finally caught alive. Got the course as well last week. Navy EOD, brother. We'll exchange stories. It's Bill Murray, that's right. From Stripes. I got a lot of Bill Murray shirts somehow. Nice. Brian says, how do you decide when to go live when so many of these landlords never answer? It's a trade secret, Brian. I will happily tell you. I run the YouTube machine, since you asked. I run the YouTube machine. And when I get a lot of these calls, all right, let's back up. Sometimes the landlord will set an appointment with me. I'll call. We'll get them on the phone, or they'll email or fax, or they'll text us and say that they can't talk right now, or we've had initial contact and they'll say, let's finalize the lease tomorrow. And then you'll see me give you a time when we're going live. All right. On a call like this, where we have an exciting call with a live landlord, here's what you don't know about YouTube. I can record the YouTubeinator, but I don't go live with it. The privacy option that I change, it's not public. The minute the landlord picks up, that's when I hit the button. You guys don't know. You see it from the beginning. You see the video. So that's the question. If I was asked before, hey, why don't you just show all the calls you make every day? Because it would be terrible. We leave so many messages. And that's the nature of what we do, not because we are cold calling, but because we are calling. Oh, I just realized this light isn't on. What is going on here? Not because we're cold calling, but because we're calling landlords who don't necessarily have empty space. I hope that makes sense. That's a good question, a technical question. But you got to understand, I'm doing this myself. I have the board. I have the ability to mute. Thank goodness I figured that out so I can go live and provide my number. But the tricky thing is when I'm in a good conversation, or at least the landlord answers, I'll click on. Sometimes they're duds. I'm trying to squeeze a conversation out of this guy, and he's trying to jump off the phone. But we have this discussion now, which is important. Appreciate the question, Brian. Hey, Danny, sorry to hear there's cell phones are out. Canada, I'm dialing clients and nothing's happening. There's nothing I can do. Julie says, yay, my first live with Danny. Well, I would have dressed up, Julie, if I would have known. Julie, what is your status? Have you seen the course? Are you really going to get a laundry? Do you just like my hair? What's going on? The video's unlisted. Thank you, Navarine. Unlisted privacy. And during the actual live that's actually happening, I can change that. And that is what I do. Sometimes, I'm not wearing any underwear right now, but sometimes nothing interesting happens and you guys don't get a live, I guess. But if you're not subscribed and you haven't hit that notification bell, you'll never see me go live, unless you're lucky. My multi-purpose digital portable cellular communicator has been working fine here in Cummings, Georgia. Good for you, Mac. Smart ass. Messages are the norm. Answering landlords are the exception. True. That is excellent. Remember that. Me. All the above, says Julie. Well, good for you, Julie. Not wearing underwear. Brian, great inside baseball. Thanks. My doc is full of left messages to call back. Yeah. Rafi says, Danny, do you like small talk? No. You know better. How are you? Scouting Swords, I just emailed you yesterday, says Julie. All right, Julie, let's get on the phone. Get my number. Jorge says, what's up, Danny? Been about 15, 20 laundromats, and they don't seem to fit your criteria, my criteria. Criterium, plural. They are pretty well kept and usually have the stainless steel laundromats. What's the best way to tell? Jorge, you're doing it wrong. If you've been to 20 laundromats and they're all hunky-dory beautiful with stainless equipment and rollerblading attendants, ice-cold air conditioning, and hundreds of customers coming and going, you're finding the laundromats by using the internet. There are no pockets. There are no magic universes where all of the laundromats are brilliant. But you, sir, are used to using the internet to find the closest coffee shop. And so you're using the internet to find disgusting, decrepit laundromats. But you won't be able to do that because the decrepit laundromats don't have a listing. They don't have Yelp or YouTube. That goes back to how we market laundromats by placing them into those systems. The actual laundries are somewhat old, says Jorge. Can you elaborate on ways to find the landlord number leasing agent when the numbers aren't listed in the open or even on the state business site, Sunbiz? I can. What this goes back to, and what is your name, the Smith MD, doctor? To back up, these are slumlords. I hate to say it, but laundromats don't typically exist right next to Neiman Marcus. You're not going to find them in Beverly Hills. You're going to find them in Compton, which is fine. This is where the money is for laundromat tours. So the landlords are a little iffy. Knowing in your heart of hearts that that landlord exists is the first step in finding them. Now, when I say landlord for the cheap seats, does that mean the lord of the land himself or herself? Does that mean the one that owns the building? Jeff that we spoke to is part of a REIT. He's a partial owner. And he wasn't even the right guy. He wanted us to speak to whom? His agent. So when I use the term landlord, it's an ambiguous term for whomever sits on the other side of the lease table. The agent, the husband, the nephew, the cousin, whomever. But if you're having a hard-fought time locating these individuals, realize there's enough fish in the sea, enough nasty laundries that you can churn through those easily found numbers. And I'm not here to, you guys know that when I have someone asking that question, I will help you to go do the thing. But for the love of God, if you're thinking of bringing me on board, go that route. Don't go calling the numbers your damn self. Don't feel them out. Don't see what you can see first. Is there a magical site or any method? Not really. But if there is a strip mall and there are other businesses, go to those other businesses. Become a consumer. Yeah, get your nails done even if you're a dude. Maybe not go to a tanning salon or get waxed, but become a consumer because otherwise you're a pain in the ass. Don't go to the pizza place at 11 o'clock in the afternoon, 11:45 in the afternoon at lunchtime and wedge your way to the front of the line and say, who's your landlord? Fuck you, back of the line. Order a pizza. Sit down, have a slice. Choke it down if it's terrible. Oh, that's delicious. Yum, yum. Start a conversation. Do you look like an accountant? Hey, I'd like to put my accounting firm in here. Who's your landlord? Don't mention the laundromat. Especially if we are working together, I don't want you to gum it up. Become a consumer. Ask some questions. If you sit there long enough, you might just find out that the guy that owns the pizza shop is the landlord. It happens. Email me if you, well, get the course if you don't have it, because all this is in there. Amco says, they're probably already listening or working with Danny. I'm not sure what that means. The Smith MD's name is Marcus. Hello, Marcus. Wait, I found some interesting info on our latest Laundromats, Danny. Have a friend who used to be a lease negotiator for one of them and told me some inside baseball. Put it in the document. Make sure you put it in big letters so I can see it. AMCO, FBI grid pattern search. Very good. Get waxed. Do not get waxed. Please don't get waxed. I want to talk on that comment, and it's hard to go into the top chat and realize where you guys are in the conversation sometimes. You're saying probably already working with Danny, etc., listening or working with me. I think you're talking about a human person that's on here, but I'm small potatoes, guys. Not just by the numbers. There are a lot of douche nozzles that are on this very platform talking about how to buy laundromats. Look into them. Why do they want you to buy a laundromat? Do they sell laundromats locally? Are they a distributor? What is their impetus for that? I can't tell you how good it makes me feel when I get an email from someone. Danny, my wife and I were about to pull the trigger and our entire 401k was going towards a down payment on someone's failure. We found you. You saved us. Again, I hope I would rather them never have the life-saving cash of a dozen laundromats than go do it wrong. There are others that talk about sending out a letter campaign to operators to get them to sell you their laundromat. Why? There are others that talk about getting that operator to do seller financing. The monster under the bed for these people is the fact that they will never be able to save $100, $150, $200, $300,000. Most Americans never will. Children save for the fucking roller skates, guys. Are you an adult watching this? I hope so. Middle class, middle age, middle-brained people, intelligent investors don't save. You see the Bellagio and you see a $3 billion property, you know what I see is one man's idea. One man didn't write a check for $3 billion. He said, I have an idea. Let's make this happen. Bring others together. If the idea is good enough, you're going to be at the top of the food chain and at the top of the building. Oh, nobody wants to use a half an acre, most expensive property in the world, and put a fountain. Fuck you. This is the way to do this. I'm losing my place in the chat. Tell me your queries. I'm here to answer them in total. Jorge, thanks, Danny, but I honestly just have been driving around finding what I can around my house. Another thing that here licenses what we need to renew once taking a loan. Jorge wants to know what licenses you need to have in order to take a laundromat over. So you're so scared to own a business. This isn't about you, Jorge. I don't know who you are. This is about everyone that asks me this question again and again. What type of licenses do I need? None in most places. Inconsequential pieces of paper. Do you drive a car? Are you scared? Well, when you're 16 years old, you're afraid to drive a car. You're afraid your dad's going to scream at you when you're driving the car. You're afraid of the lady with the hairy mole that's going to help you get your driver's license when you drive the car. That's all scary shit. But you get to be 17, 18, 53, and you're driving with the cell phone, a donut in your mouth, using your ankle to do the steering while you're brushing your hair. Not advocating any of that. If you never get over the fucking fear of the lady with the mole, you're never going to own anything worthwhile. Everybody else goes and gets a job and fills out an application, right? So go do that. There's no harm or shame in doing that. Go do that. What license? I get emphatic about certain things, like when people ask me if they need an LLC. Good God. If you have any liability or asset, you need an LLC. Yes. You don't have to have a business, and the limited liability is something you might never use. This isn't the good time fun shine show, guys. This is the reality of laundromats and how simple that they are. In some states, you don't need any license whatsoever to own this type of business. Where across the street, there's a barber shop, and he's got to have 30 pieces of paper on the wall because he's cutting people's hair. Okay? So the real answer is number one, hey, Jorge, check your local laws to find out what, but who gives a shit? If there's some Ways and Means Commission that needs to sign off for you, that's nothing. It's nothing. And again, the shiny ones, he says. I don't know what that's in reference to. I've already forgotten what it was. The ones with ACs and customers. Yes. Speed Queen, build one for you. Yes. I don't know what that means. Small money trading. Speed Queen, build one for you. Julie says there's usually a lease sign somewhere in the strip mall plaza. Drive around. Correct. I wouldn't say usually, but many times. Luis says, how can you get grants when you get a laundromat? Well, that's very, very rare. I would rather, Luis, that you try to look for grants for anything. And maybe you see a grant for a chicken farm and you own 40 acres. Go after that grant, because this guy's grants from the government anyway don't have to be paid. Well, grants in general don't have to be paid back. When it comes to laundromats, the grant is not going to be for your equipment or for your toilet seat. The grant is going to have to do with your building. So if you find a laundromat that's in a quaint little Main Street setting in Jerome, Arizona, I can almost guarantee you, with enough paperwork and time and energy and effort, you can get them to renew your sign on the roof for free. Why the fuck would you want that laundromat to begin with? Luis, you're doing it wrong. I have a couple of videos about grants, about one of my very successful clients in Colorado who got a huge grant to renew his building, his facade. But it was a very old building, and it was big, and it was on a main thoroughfare. And the street was an historic street. So I would say in the laundry business, since I've been doing this 20 years, don't bother. If your sole thing is grants, they're very difficult to get through. You got to be squeaky clean, know some people typically, but I'd go for grants that are, again, more fitting to you. Maybe you need to be a knife juggler. Perfect. Maybe I'm the guy right now on this call where it puts it in your head that grants are not something for you. SoCal is tough. Oh, I don't know what that means. Douche nozzle is one of my favorite insults. I don't even remember saying it. Wade, oh, it's Danny. Copy and pasted his part onto the document. Pasted his part. Oh, good. All right. Thanks. Julie says, I'm in SoCal. Lots of rough laundromats. Julie, let's get on the phone. Noah says, crappy laundromats everywhere. I've got over 20 jotted down, ready to be scouted. Drive around the city. And I know that Noah is our friendly neighbor to the north, Canada. Luis says, okay. If nothing else, Luis, on this call, I've spent 44 minutes of my time, and I've got something through to you. God bless you. Julie, Danny said retool every 7 years. That means new machines and a new loan with distributors every 7 years. Not necessarily. If you have a very good, well-run laundromat, it's rocking and rolling, and the people are busting the shit out of those machines every day. That's what you want. When I say dragging the debt service throughout the entire lease, yes, it's part of it. Julie, how do you think we end up with stores like Jeff the Landlord store, who's been fighting with the landlord? Do you want your lawyers to go after their lawyers? No, you do not. That is not something you want. How do you avoid that? Having a well-run business. How do you do that in a hamburger stand? Don't over order hamburger and have a great recipe. I assume. I don't know the business. I assume it's a million things. With a laundromat, it's equipment. At some point, the equipment is going to get beat up enough that the warranty expires, and then you're fixing the equipment. So that's the fine line. I thought you said you saw the course. This is all in there. Julie says, I've been on the phone with you and slowly paying to hire you to negotiate. Oh, okay, good. Well, Julie, why aren't you texting me these questions? People are weird to me. My consultation is truly a never-ending funnel of information. I said this to you, Julie. I know this. If you need anything, send me a text. I don't want you spinning like a spit in bed at night trying to fall asleep thinking about laundromats if you've got a question. The 7-year retool shouldn't scare you. Does a $7,000 water bill scare you, Julie? Stop me if you've heard that one before. You probably have. Am I being rude? No. I wish my phone would work. One more question. That's it. One more question. Here it comes. Let's go to the emails. No, I'm not even going to do that one. I'm going to go change the title to this. Dude, I told my boss I found my sales doppelganger in you, Danny. It's quite a compliment you're giving yourself there, buddy. Where do you work? I'm a great host because I get this little feeling like I know when things are slowing the fuck down. J.L. Simpson, you have 2 seconds to answer me. Where do you work? What type? I don't care where, what kind of place. What do you sell? I'm top 5 in the nation, life insurance and Medicare agent. Oh, boy. Funny thing, I don't sell anything, Mr. Simpson. I don't sell anything. This here shit sells itself. What are your marching orders? I think you know. I think you understand. I want everybody to go into the regular video comments when I end this thing and say something about bluntness. Anything about bluntness. Goodbye.